Thanks for staying with us. You're watching The What Now. Let's now focus on the Israel-Hamas war as we bring in a global affairs analyst, Dr. Ambrose Igboke, to speak more on this. Good to have you join us.
Good afternoon, Precious. Thanks for having me.
So I want to sort of focus on some of these solutions that are now being touted as a means to an end to this war. The first one is that there is now talks about a broader peace initiative that will see the Palestinian Authority, led by Mahmoud Abbas, return to rule the Gaza Strip. Can he represent the voice of Palestinians?
You know, the Gaza-Israeli issue has just been, the world has been playing hide and seek with it. They have been playing games with it, actually, all the superpowers of the world, because there have been, solutions right from time. Who created Hamas in the first place? Who created that kind of, a solution that made Hamas to be really one part of Palestine, and then actually we now have a president of Palestine. I mean, those arrangements are not, right. That's what have created this demon called Hamas, because some people, some powers that they kind of supported them to have some part of Palestine to themselves. Coming to the solutions that have been profiled, I hope this time around there will be sincerity. Because Hamas has no place being a legitimate government. Hamas, from a terrorist organization, transformed to a political parties, and then they started having legitimate rulership over that Gaza Strip. That's not supposed to be, because there's a president of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas. So why should even the world allow that happen in the first place? So that is to show the hypocrisy of what we have in the United Nations, of what we have in the West, and what we have about the issues of the war in the Middle East. And so the war in the Middle East has a solution if the world really wants to effect the solution. But somehow, somewhere, the superpowers of the world are using it as ego flexing, are using it as the power tussle, are using that location as a way to bolster their ego and fight their own proxy wars. That is what I'm seeing in the Middle East.
And that solution is a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. And U.S. President Joe Biden has said that the future should include that particular solution. But why is that taking so long? Because this is not, that solution has been there for a really long time, but it doesn't look like there is any will or political will to enforce it. Why is it taking so long?
Precious, you're very right. That solution has been there for more than 40 years. And the first time it was touted, Yasser Arafat, who was the Palestinian Liberation Organization leader at that time, ran away. He refused to have meetings to make sure that those two-state solutions reach. And there are two sets of extremities here. One set says that Israel has no place there. Another set said Israel must be there. Well, Israel must be there because even when you go to the history of that area, neither Israel nor Palestine are the Aboriginal owners of that land. They are all strangers there. And Israel came there 4,000 years ago. Palestine came there 1,300 years ago. So for them to have a meaningful, solution to this, they have to accept the two-state solution. You cannot say some quarters are saying that Israelis are occupiers. Both of them are occupiers. None of them are original owners of that land. So the only thing is to have a two-state solution. Nobody can say that I will be the only one there. And except both sides accept it. I've also proffered that at this stage we don't need to wait for the two of them to accept it. When the United Nations decide and call on them for a meeting, I think there's a time for the United Nations and the world to say this is what we want and create sovereign boundaries and effect it. We don't need to wait for Hamas to say they agree, or Palestine or Israel. Let them effect those boundaries and then let them become sovereign boundaries so that anybody that does an incursion into those boundaries will now know the person is having an act of war or act of invasion in a country. And that is simple enough. I don't know why a people should live without sovereign boundaries. Everywhere, every country has its own sovereign boundaries. So what is the world waiting for? So even recently in Nigeria, we had to cede away our Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon and it was that judgment was given by the International Court, which Nigeria obeyed and then we readjusted our boundaries along that line. So why is the Middle East a problem? So the one that you have done it in several cases. Imagine the cases of Eritrea and Ethiopia the other time, Southern Sudan this recently. So what is the big deal about issues in the Middle East, except that some people are just using it to, fight proxy wars. Look at Vladimir Putin talking about casualties in the Gaza Strip and the rest. What him that invaded a country? He invaded another sovereign nation called Ukraine, and he's there. And then there are collateral damages that have been found in Ukraine. He has been sacking cities and villages in Ukraine, and he has the moral, right to come talk about what is happening in Gaza. So they are all guilty. All the superpowers are guilty of those things. And then when also Hamas invaded Israel, they didn't talk about issues of innocent citizens being killed. They killed everybody, both innocent and every old, young, infants and the rest. And so these senseless killings must stop on both sides. And the world must, take a position and make sure that peace is restored in the Middle East.
Absolutely. I guess the greatest fear now is that this could kindle increased conflict well beyond Gaza. But we'll continue to see how this war evolves. Thank you so much for talking to us, as always, Global Affairs Analyst, Dr. Ambrose Igboke.
Thank you for having me.